This is section 2.4, multiplying rational numbers. The learning target is that we can find products of rational numbers. So this is not just integers, but it is multiplying fractions and decimals. The key idea is that to multiply rational numbers, use the same rules for signs as you use for multiplying integers. So if you have a negative multiplied by a positive, you're going to get a negative. If you have a negative multiplied by a negative, you're going to give a positive. So if it's the same sign, you'll get positive. If it's different signs, you'll get negative. All right, I've included a picture of example 2, multiplying rational numbers. A and B are both examples. A is an example of multiplying decimals and how you can put them together and get the answer. And then B is about multiplying fractions. It's actually a fraction and a mixed number. So then you can look through that to see how you do that. So I include those just so you can see them, and they're also in your book. But I want to just go through the try it problems. And if you want to, pause the video, try it, and then come back. Nothing would be wrong with that. Then you could see how you're doing and give yourself a little practice. All right, let's start with 1. Now, I have said we could use calculators. So I'll do one of these, one of the decimals and one of the fractions longhand, but then I'm going to use the calculator for the other ones. So number 1 is a negative 5.1 times a 1.8. So it's a negative times a positive. I know I'm going to get a negative, but if I do it this way, 8 times 1 is 8, times 5 is 40, add my 0, 1, 5, and I'm going to go like that, bring it down, 8, 1, 9, decimal comes out 2 times, so it has to go in 2 times, so it's negative 9.18. All right, number 2, it's a negative times a negative, so that's going to be a positive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 6.3 times 0.6 in my calculator, and it gets me 3.78. And I know it's a negative times a negative, so it's a positive. So there's your answer. All right, let's look at 3. Negative 4/5 times negative 2/3. Now, when you multiply fractions, you just have to go straight across. And because it's a negative times a negative, I know I'm going to get a positive. So 4 times 2 is 8, 5 times 3 is 15, and it is 8/15. I can't simplify that, so I'm good to go. Number 4. I'm going to make these into improper. So 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So 9/2 times negative 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 7/3. Okay. Now I just have to multiply across. And I know it's a positive times a negative, so it's going to be a negative. And 7 times 9, 63. And 2 times 3, 6. And I know that 3 can go into both of these. Divide each by 3. 63 divided by 3 is going to give me 21. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so now I'm going to change it into a mixed number. How many times does 2 go into 21? 10 times, and I know it's a negative. 10 and that would be 10 and 1 left over 2, 10 and a half. All right. This example shows you how to use properties to multiply rational numbers, like the commutative property of multiplication, which says if you have all multiplication, doesn't matter what you multiply first, you're going to multiply it all together anyways, so you can pick and choose what you want to do first, second, third, etc. All right, you can look through that example if you would like. I'm going to just do the try-its for you, and I can show you doing an example. Again, if you want to pause it, try it on your own, and come back and watch me, you can do that too. Okay, so on number 5, I have a negative 2/3, and I'm going to make that 7 7/8 into improper. So 7 times 8, that's 56, plus 7 is 63 over 8 times 3 over 2. Now, I know that I have a negative times a positive times times another positive. So the negative times positive is negative, and then that negative times a positive is negative. So this is going to end up being a negative answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put negative 2/3 times 63 over 8 times 3 over 2. Now, I can do a little cross simplifying, or I could move stuff around. I want to do negative 2 times 63 times 3, and then I'm going to move that 2 in the front to have it 2 times 8 times 3. Now this is just going to give me 1. That's just going to give me negative 1. So pretty much all it is a negative 63 over 8. And when I do that, I get a negative 7 7/8. You could almost have seen that from the very first, that this times this is going to get you a negative 6 over 6, which is a negative 1. A negative 1 times that is just going to be a negative 63/8, and then you can change it. But I wanted to show you how to do it that way too. Now, number 6, because it's a decimal, I'm just going to use my calculator in this one. But it's a negative times a positive, so that gets me a negative. And then I have a negative or a positive times a negative, that gets me a negative. And the negative times a negative is going to get me a positive. So I know that in the end, I will have a positive number here. And so I'm just going to take 7.02 times 0.1 times 100 times 10 equals 702. And it is positive. Okay? Here's a little self-assessment before we get to a word problem. We're not going to do 7. We will do 8, 9, 10, and 11. Go ahead and pause the video. Try 8, 9, 10, 11. See how you do. And then come back and we'll check. All right, number 8. Negative 3 over 10 times negative 8 over 15. So basically, it is a negative 3 times negative 8 over 10 times 15. And negative 3 times negative 8 is 24. 10 times 15 is 150. 450. Now I can simplify that down to 1275. And then 3 goes into there, so that's 4 25s. And I think that's as simple as I can get it. So I circle it, and I'm done. Number 9. Let's change colors. Number 9 will be blue. -2 thirds times 1 1/3. I'm going to make that improper. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 4 thirds. And then I just had -2 times 4 equals 3 times 3. -2 times 4 is -8 over 9. So it is -8 ninths. Can't simplify. All right. Let's do number 10. -2.8 times -1.7. With decimals, I'm just going to use my calculator. I know it is going to be a positive because it's a negative times a negative. So 2.8 times 1.7 gets me 4.76. Okay. Now, last one, number 11. I want to make those both into improper. So 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8. So we have 8 over 5. Then 8 over 5 times negative, let's see, 12 plus 3 is 15. 15 over 4. And then I could do a little cross simplifying just for fun to make it easier so I don't have to simplify at the end. This 4 and the 8, that can be divided by 4. So that's going to be 1. That's going to be 2. The 5 and the 15 can both be divided by 5. So that's going to be 1. That's going to be 3. Now 2, oops, that's a positive 2, times -3 over 1 times 1. That would be a -6 over 1, and that would just be a -6. Okay, hopefully you did pretty good on those 4. Here's a fun little word problem. A school record for the 40-meter dash is 15.24 seconds. Predict the school record after 15 years when the school record decreases by about 0.06 seconds per year. All right, so I know that the current record is 15.24, and then I'm going to add to it all of the way it goes down. So I know it's 15 years times, and it goes down 0.06, so a -0.06. So that'll get me my total increase or total decrease over the 15 years. And then I'm just going to put that with the current record, and we'll see where we're at. So order of operations tells me I have to do my multiplication first. So I do 15 times 0.06, and that gets me a -0.9. And then 15.24 plus -0.9. So basically I'm just taking 15.24 minusing the 0.9. And I'm going to get 14.34. That is the new record. Okay. For this self-assessment with problem solving, I want you to try on your own. Number 12 and 13. 13's a dig deeper. Just see what you can do. Work at them for a little while. Write out some notes. See if you can get the answer. And then we will go over these in class tomorrow.